Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. What's your worth? No, I don't mean your paycheck, your title, or the clothes you wear. I mean your soul, your heart, your peace of mind. If you don't know your worth, someone else will decide it for you, and often they'll undervalue it. Today, we're diving into the 4 red flags that a man doesn't value you. These are signals flashing bright, trying to tell you that it's time to protect your heart and your standards. Let's get into it. 1. He disrespects your boundaries. Respect is a foundation, not an option. If a man constantly tests your limits, ignores your no, or belittles what's important to you, he's showing you he doesn't value your feelings. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates with locks. And the right man knows how to use the key with care. 2. He's all talk and no action. You've heard it before. I'll change, I'll do better, or I've been busy. Excuses are easy, effort is hard. A man who values you doesn't just talk about showing up, he does it. His words match his actions, and his promises are backed by proof. 3. He only gives when it's convenient. Love is not about convenience. It's about consistency. If he's only there when it suits him, when he has time, or when he feels like it, he's not valuing you, he's using you. True love shows up even when it's inconvenient because you're worth the effort. 4. He makes you feel replaceable. You're not an option, you're the prize. If a man compares you to others, makes you question your place, or keeps you guessing about his intentions, that's not love. That's manipulation. A man who values you will make you feel irreplaceable, because to him, you are. Now here's the truth. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If you see these red flags, don't ignore them. Don't stay silent. Step back, reevaluate, and ask yourself if you're giving your energy to someone who deserves it. You are more than enough. And when you value yourself first, you attract the kind of love that sees, honors, and cherishes your worth. So, remember this. Never beg for respect, attention, or affection. The right man will give it freely because he knows you're worth it. Thank you. Respect is a cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. Without it, the foundation cracks, and what you build on it becomes unstable. It's not something you should have to demand, negotiate, or beg for. It's something that should flow naturally from someone who values you. The truth is, respect starts with how you carry yourself, but it's sustained by how others choose to treat you. If someone repeatedly disregards your boundaries, dismisses your opinions, or undermines your worth, they're showing you, loud and clear, that they don't respect you. And where there's no respect, there can never be genuine love. Think about boundaries for a moment. These aren't selfish walls meant to keep people out. They're the healthy gates you set to protect your peace, your dignity, and your emotional well-being. Boundaries are there to let the right people in and keep the wrong behaviors out. When a man disregards those boundaries, he's sending a clear message. What matters to you doesn't matter to me. Maybe he ignores your requests for space or makes light of things you've said are important to you. Maybe he pushes for more when you've made it clear that you're not ready. Whatever the case, these actions aren't just red flags. They're billboards screaming that he doesn't value your feelings or your autonomy. Respect also shows up in the way someone listens. Are they present when you speak? Do they make an effort to understand your perspective, even when they don't agree? A man who values you will listen with intention, not just out of politeness or to bide his time until it's his turn to speak. He won't dismiss your concerns as overreactions or tell you you're being too sensitive. Instead, he'll lean in and take your words to heart because your feelings matter to him. When someone brushes off your emotions or minimizes your experiences, they're not only showing disrespect, they're chipping away at your self-worth. Now, let's talk about the little things. Respect isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's in the quiet, everyday moments. It's in remembering the details you've shared, honoring your time, and treating you with kindness even in disagreements. If a man constantly cancels plans, interrupts you when you speak, or behaves thoughtlessly, it might seem minor at first, but over time, these little cracks reveal a much bigger problem. A lack of respect in the small things often translates to a lack of respect in the bigger picture. And let's not forget about public versus private respect. It's easy for someone to put on a good face in public, to say all the right things and act like the perfect partner when others are watching. But what about behind closed doors? Does he still treat you with the same care, patience, and dignity? Respect isn't about appearances. It's about consistency. A man who truly values you will treat you with the same love and admiration, whether the world is watching or not. Respect also means honoring your individuality. It's recognizing that you are your own person, with your own dreams, values, and beliefs. A man who respects you won't try to mold you into something you're not, or pressure you to compromise your identity for the sake of the relationship. Instead, he'll celebrate the things that make you unique, even when those things challenge him to grow. He'll see your strength and independence as assets, not threats. But here's the hard truth. Respect starts with you. People often treat you the way you allow them to. If you tolerate disrespect, whether it's out of fear of conflict, a desire to keep the peace, or because you've been made to believe you don't deserve better, it will continue. Setting and enforcing boundaries isn't about being harsh or unkind. It's about teaching people how to treat you. When you respect yourself enough to walk away from those who don't, you send a powerful message, not just to them, but to yourself. It's easy to make excuses for someone who disrespects you. Maybe you tell yourself they're stressed, they didn't mean it, or they'll change. But disrespect rarely comes as a one-time event. It's usually a pattern. And the longer you excuse it, the more it erodes your confidence and self-esteem. Respect isn't a gift, it's a requirement. And if someone can't meet that standard, they're not worthy of your time, your love, or your energy. You deserve a partner who sees your value, respects your boundaries, and cherishes your individuality. Don't settle for someone who makes you question your worth or feel like you're asking for too much. Because here's the truth. When someone truly values you, respect won't feel like a struggle or a negotiation. It'll be the natural foundation of everything they do. And that's the kind of love worth waiting for. Actions have always spoken louder than words. While words can be sweet, convincing, and carefully chosen, actions reveal the truth about someone's intentions. It's easy to say all the right things, to promise change, to declare love and devotion, but words without action are hollow. They're like a beautifully wrapped gift box that's empty inside. If a man values you, his actions will align with his words, and you won't have to guess his intentions. You'll see them in what he does, not just hear them in what he says. Think about how simple it is to make a promise. I'll be there, I'll change, I'll do better. These words can feel comforting, even reassuring, especially when they're spoken at a moment of vulnerability. But what happens next? Does he follow through? Does he keep showing up, doing better, and making the effort to back up those promises? Or do the same patterns keep repeating them? Empty promises are a way of keeping someone on the hook, dangling the hope of change without ever delivering it. Over time, they lead to frustration, doubt, and emotional exhaustion. Consistency is key when it comes to valuing someone. A man who truly cares about you won't just make an effort occasionally or when it's convenient for him, he'll make an effort all the time. He won't just apologize, he'll work to ensure his actions reflect genuine growth and understanding. For instance, if he knows he's hurt you, he won't simply say, "I'm sorry," and move on. He'll demonstrate his commitment to doing better by changing his behavior, even when it's hard or uncomfortable. Because when someone values you, they don't want to keep repeating mistakes that hurt you. Pay attention to how he shows up in your life. Does he prioritize you? Or are you always the one making adjustments to fit into his schedule? Does he take the time to show that he cares about the little things, like remembering what's important to you or being present when you need him most? These small, consistent actions are often a much stronger indicator of how someone feels about you than grand gestures or flowery words. A man who values you doesn't just perform for the highlight reel, he shows up every day in big ways and small. Actions also reveal someone's character when times are tough. It's easy to act like a loving, caring partner when everything is going smoothly. But what happens when challenges arise? Does he stand by you, offering support and reassurance? Or does he withdraw and make excuses? A man who values you will be there when it counts, not just when it's easy. He'll put in the effort to weather the storms with you, not leave you to face them alone. And when he makes mistakes, and everyone does, He'll take responsibility for them, rather than trying to shift the blame or avoid accountability. Another critical aspect of action is follow-through. It's one thing for someone to say they'll be there for you, but do they actually show up? Do they remember the commitments they've made, or do they constantly forget or accidentally let you down? Follow-through is about reliability and respect. If someone values you, they'll honor their commitments because they know that your time, energy, and trust are precious. They won't take you for granted by making empty promises they have no intention of keeping. Sometimes words can be used as a distraction. A man might say all the right things to keep you from noticing that his actions don't align. He might tell you he loves you, but he doesn't make an effort to spend quality time with you. He might say he respects you, but he doesn't listen when you express your feelings or concerns. He might say you're a priority, but his actions make you feel like an op. This kind of mismatch between words and actions is a red flag, and it's one you should never ignore. Here's the thing: actions require effort, commitment, and intention. Words can be spoken without much thought, but actions demand consistency and follow-through. They're how someone proves their feelings, their priorities, and their respect for you. If a man truly values you, you won't have to wonder how he feels, because his actions will make it clear. He'll put in the effort to show you time and time again that you matter to him, not just when it's convenient, but because it's what you deserve. You deserve someone who doesn't just talk about love, but lives it. Someone who backs up their words with action, who shows up when it matters, and who makes you feel cherished through consistent, intentional effort. If you find yourself constantly questioning someone's intentions because their actions don't match their words, it's a sign that they may not value you the way you deserve to be valued. Don't settle for empty promises. Wait for the person whose actions leave no room for doubt. You are not a backup plan. You are not someone's safety net, their fallback option, or their maybe. When a man values you, he makes it clear that you are his priority, not a second thought or a convenience. But the unfortunate truth is, sometimes people will treat you as if you're just another option in a sea of possibilities. They'll keep you close enough to benefit from your love, support, and care, but never commit fully, leaving you in a constant state of uncertainty. This is a red flag you can't ignore because it speaks directly to how someone views and values you. Being treated as a backup plan often starts subtly. Maybe he cancels plans at the last minute because something else came up. Maybe he's inconsistent in his communication, leaving you waiting for a reply while he responds to others immediately. Perhaps he makes you feel like you're the one always chasing him, putting in the effort to see him, to connect, or to make things work. Over time, these small signs add up to a bigger picture. You're not his priority, and he's comfortable letting you fill the gaps in his life rather than making room for you at the center. When someone values you, they make you feel secure in the relationship. You don't have to question where you stand or wonder if you're enough because their actions consistently show you that you are. A man who sees you as a priority will go out of his way to ensure you feel loved, respected, and cherished. He won't leave you guessing about his intentions or make you feel like you're competing for his attention. Instead, he'll be intentional about creating space for you in his life, showing you that you're an essential part of it, not an optional extra. On the other hand, when someone treats you as a backup plan, you'll often feel like you're walking on eggshells. You might find yourself overthinking every interaction, wondering if you're doing enough or if there's something you could change to earn more of his attention. This is not how love is supposed to feel. Love isn't about proving your worth to someone. It's about two people recognizing and celebrating each other's worth equally. If you constantly feel like you're chasing after someone's approval or fighting for a spot in their life, it's a clear sign they don't value you the way they should. A man who sees you as a priority doesn't wait for convenience to show up in your life. He makes the time. He doesn't push you aside when something better comes along because, to him, there is nothing better than you. When you're important to someone, they find ways to include you in their world, even when life gets busy or complicated. They don't make excuses, they make the effort. And that effort is what sets apart someone who truly values you from someone who's simply keeping you around for their own benefit. It's also important to recognize the emotional toll of being treated as a backup plan. When someone doesn't prioritize you, it can leave you feeling undervalued, unimportant, and insecure. You might start questioning your self-worth or blaming yourself for the lack of attention and effort you're receiving. But let me tell you this, it's not your fault. You are not too much. Wanting to be loved, respected, and valued is not an unreasonable expectation. It's the bare minimum. And if someone can't meet that standard, it's a reflection of their shortcomings, not yours. Being treated as an option is also a sign of emotional immaturity or a lack of readiness for a serious relationship. A mature, emotionally available man knows what he wants and isn't afraid to commit to it. He doesn't string people along or keep them in his life as placeholders while he decides what he truly wants. Instead, he's upfront about his intentions. If someone is giving you mixed signals, keeping you on the sidelines, or treating you like a backup, it's a sign they're not ready to give you the love and commitment you deserve. The most important thing to remember is that you set the standard for how you're treated. If you accept being someone's backup plan, you're teaching them that it's okay to treat you that way. But the moment you recognize your worth and refuse to settle for anything less, you take back your power. You show the world and yourself that you deserve to be someone's first choice, not their fallback option. Ultimately, you deserve a love that's certain, intentional, and wholehearted. You deserve someone who chooses you every day, not just when it's convenient or when they have nothing better to do. Don't waste your time on someone who keeps you in the background while they explore other options or leave you waiting for scraps of their attention. Walk away from anyone who makes you feel like you're not enough, because the truth is, you are more than enough. The right person will see that, and they'll make sure you never feel like an option again. The way you carry yourself teaches people how to treat you. You set the standard for how others engage with you, and it all starts with self-respect. When you know your worth, you naturally demand a certain level of respect and care from those around you. But when you compromise on your boundaries, overlook red flags, or accept less than you deserve, you send a message, whether intentional or not, that you're willing to settle for less. The truth is, no one can value you more than you value yourself, and if you don't hold yourself in high regard, it becomes easier for others to take you for granted. Think of self-respect as the foundation of your relationships. When you carry yourself with confidence and integrity, you set a tone that others can't ignore. People notice when you walk into a room with your head held high, when you speak with conviction, and when you make decisions that align with your values. This energy commands respect, not because you demand it verbally, but because it's evident in how you live your life. It's not about arrogance or superiority. It's about showing that you understand your worth and won't accept anything that undermines it. But let's face it, there are moments when it's tempting to lower your standards, especially when emotions are involved. Maybe you care deeply for someone and hope they'll eventually see your value. Perhaps you're afraid of being alone or think you can fix someone who doesn't treat you the way you deserve. These feelings are valid, but they shouldn't dictate your actions. Every time you accept behavior that falls short of your standards, you reinforce the idea that it's okay for someone to treat you that way. Over time, this not only impacts how others perceive you, but also how you perceive yourself. Respect is a two-way street. It's not just about setting boundaries, it's about enforcing them. It's one thing to say, "I won't tolerate disrespect," but it's another to follow through when someone crosses that line. This can be difficult, especially if you have a history with the person or if you're worried about conflict. But enforcing your boundaries is essential to maintaining your self-worth. It shows that you're serious about the respect you expect and that you're not afraid to walk away from situations or people that don't align with your values. When someone truly values you, they'll rise to meet the standards you set. They'll see your self-respect as a strength, not a challenge to overcome. A man who values you won't be intimidated by your boundaries. He'll respect them because he knows they're an essential part of who you are. He'll recognize that treating you with care and respect isn't a burden, it's a privilege. And when you meet someone like this, you won't have to explain or justify your expectations because they'll already understand and align with them. It's also important to recognize that setting standards isn't about controlling others or being inflexible. It's about knowing what you need to feel valued and respected in a relationship. This might look like expecting consistent communication, mutual effort, and honesty. It might mean walking away from someone who repeatedly makes excuses for their behavior or who dismisses your feelings. Whatever your standards are, they should reflect what truly matters to you, not what society or others think you should want. There's power in walking away from situations that don't serve you. It's a form of self-respect that says, "I choose me." This doesn't mean you're giving up or that you don't care about the other person. It means you care about yourself enough to prioritize your well-being. Walking away can be one of the hardest things to do, but it's also one of the most empowering. It's a reminder that you have the strength to protect your peace and the courage to demand better for yourself. The way you treat yourself also sets an example for how others should treat you. If you're constantly putting yourself down, neglecting your needs, or tolerating disrespect, people will take note. On the other hand, when you show yourself love, care, and patience, you set a powerful example of what you expect from others. This isn't just about romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family dynamics, and even professional interactions. Self-respect is universal, and it impacts every area of your life. Ultimately, you teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself and by the standards you set and enforce. If someone isn't willing to meet those standards, they're not the right person for you. It's better to be alone with your integrity intact than to be surrounded by people who don't respect you. Remember, you are the author of your story, and you have the power to shape the narrative. Peace be good this night, and realize that you are right. When you choose self-respect, you create space for the kind of relationships that honor your worth and uplift your spirit. You set the tone, and the right people will follow.